So, yesterday we talked about how we can make a while loop and a for loop. So sometimes the loop system, if it's getting a bit difficult, there are simple ways to write the loop. But it's better to go with a hard way than you learn the simple way. Then learning a simple way and finding it difficult to adapt to the hard way. So this is why I decided to make sure that we go through some of these hard ways first. Then maybe we will look into another way, which might be a bit simpler than the one we had seen before. So I will do a quick recap about what we did yesterday. So that would be like a revision. So yesterday we showed some skills of using a loop. So we had So we had some numbers here, like this is where we started the looping thing from. So I said when you want to write a loop, most especially the for loop, so you would write 4x in Python, 4x in Python. The meaning is iterate through the word Python and print x. So, and I said we can also represent the x with something else. So we can represent it with something else. So, and we can also use, so you want to iterate through all the lists. You want to see everything you have in the list, or you want to search for something in the list, or you want to pick something in the list. All of these things are things we can do with the list. Now we can also write range of numbers, like I mentioned to you in the last class. We can have a range of number from any range within a range of 10. We can also have, in this case, it's pretty easy. Say you want to write range 10, you run it now, for example, it's going to print 1 to 10 for you. But if you want to have some, if you want to have some space in between the 1 to 10, let's say, for example, you want to have a space of like 2 numbers. You want to have the space between one number and the other one should be 2. So it's going to print for you 0, 3, 0, 2, like that. So you have to put, the first one is the range you want to have. The second number is going to be the gap, the space. So I don't know, this thing is a bit slow. Let me reload it. It's really strange. We need to get another laptop. Offers the shortest syntax for looping through a list. So the shortest way to loop through a list is being offered by the syntax. So it's called a shortend for loop that will print all items in the list. So you say this list, apple, banana, cherry, you say print X, 4X in this list. So it's just like in English, print X for X in this list. So then it's going to print everything you have in the list. So even if you don't know how to write the list before, once you have this written, you can do what you can retrieve all the things you want to retrieve, even not without writing a very complex code. All right, so you can try to do the same on your console and see what the result is going to be. So what about list comprehension? List comprehension offers a shorter syntax where you want to create a new list based on the values of an existing list. So let's say you have a list already and you want to make a new list from the existing one. So list comprehension is a very good help to make that easy for you. So list comprehension is a very good thing. Example, based on the list of fruit we've already had, you want a new list which is containing only the fruits with the letter A. So you want to have another list which is having only among the fruits which is having letter A in it. So if you take a look now at all the lists you have here, you will notice that apple has got A, banana has got A, cherry's not got A, mango's got A. So the meaning is you would have another list which is called new list, which would have apple, banana, and mango. So we can do that. This is a very, very complex method and which is being used a lot in data science and data wrangling. Because sometimes you don't want to use everything you have. Or let's say, for example, you're finding a name of someone, and you know the name starts with A or it's got A in it, but you cannot remember the name. So you can decide to make a new list, and you would say for X in fruits, if A in X, that's a condition. I will break it down. This for says for all the things, all the items you have in fruits. That's what you represent with X, for X in fruits. Then you put a colon, then you put a condition. If is a condition. You said if A in X. So if you have A in any of the items in the list, that's X. So the items in the list is represented by X. So you say for A in X, if A is in X, new list to append X. So you want to have a new list that you want to append X to it. You know, the new list did not have anything before. But now when you say that, it's going to fill with all the letters from the fruit list, which has got letter A. Then you want to print it and save. If you do this for someone who is a boss, he's going to like you forever. Because it's going to know that this guy is a material. Because this task you just did is a task that can cost him a lot of money. It's a task that can cost him a lot of money. And yet it's not going to be able to achieve it. Because most of the time the problem we face is finding someone who actually knows exactly what you want. Because sometimes you want something and this person is not there to make it easy for you. So when that happens, what can you do? You have to do it yourself. So that's the reason I would encourage all of you to make sure that you have a very, very sound understanding of these things. So now let's try to write a code and see how it's going to work. So let's open let's open a new console. I mean, a new cell. So the new cell, now we want to see some practical example of how to, of what we've been talking about. So let's say, for example, let's have a list. Let's call the list 2 and see if we still have it. Print list 2. I would cancel this. I think this is one of the major problems. I would stop this. Yes. So now I still have my list too. Okay. All right. So now I want to print. So you want to print, you want to iterate through. You open a what? You open an angle bracket. So you say print. What do you want to print? X. For what? For X in list 2. Can you see? It looks pretty good and pretty easy. And it's going to print everything for you. So now it's printing none, 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 none at the end of it. So why is it printing that? So let's check it out. So your list 2 is got name of the fruits, which we saw before, isn't it? So then when you say for X, I mean, you want to print X for X in list 2. So let's run it again. So it's to give you none, 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 none. Can someone tell me why? Why is it giving you none, 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 none? Any idea? Okay, let's use it. Let's
Yeah,
use the other
I'm
way
guessing.
to make
Okay.
it and see if it's gonna give us the same thing. Let's say 4x in 4x in list 2. Print x. So did you see? So the reason why it's giving you this problem is because you're putting everything in the list. So, and you've already taken everything out of the list, and it's telling you nothing is in the list. So this is why it's saying this none, 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 none. So it's not actually a good way to write, to call for a list. So it's not a good way. So the best way is this. So because it's going to see you as a person who wants to generate a new list. And once you already print the things in the list out, you have the list is empty already. You don't have anything inside it. So that's why I gave you what he gave you. But this is the best way, a simple way. So I would like you to stick to it. But if you want to use the other one, no problems. It's okay. So now let's do the other method we mentioned before. So we want to have a new list. Now we have, if you want to move this cell up, you want to make this come down, you just use this. So the new one comes down. So you will write a new list. Write a new list with a what? An empty new list. That's how to open a new list which is empty. All right. Then you will say 4x. Instead of writing it, let's use fruit for fruit in fruits, colon. If 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 b if b in fruit, if b is in fruit, then what you do? So append new list dot append what? Append fruits. No list dot append fruit. Then print the new list. Sometimes you can wait a little bit to make sure you see the one, you see everything fine before you print the new list. No, so now let me go to the code. We had a list, so we can call the list, call it list 2. All right, we can even make the list. Let me copy it. So let's put the list here. let's call it fruits. So now we have fruits. So we have all the fruits inside it. So now we have a new list. So now let's run it. Given a problem. So it's saying the new list is now having assignment. Did you read it? So try to always read a syntax error. We did not assign it to anything. So let's run it again. So now everything is fine. So fruits is this. Then the new list is this. We are assigning the new list to an empty list. So then we say for the fruit in fruits, if B in fruits, no list dot append fruit. So now let's print the no list. So now can you see? These are the only only two lists which you've got B inside them. Can you see how good the for loop is? So instead of stressing yourself of looking for a name which is not easy to find, just write the quotes here. So let's do another one. Let's do another one. Let's say we want to find in the list any food that has got A in it. So let's call it B list, or let's call it A list. All right. So A list, you declare a empty what? Empty A list equals to empty what? Empty list. So you will say, you write the code for fruit, for fruit, for fruit and fruits. Sorry. For fruit and fruits in colon. If A in fruit so what would happen? A list dot append fruit. So now it's going to iterate through the fruits and it's going to find any fruit that's got A and it's going to bring it down. So now let's run it. So we run it. So let's open another console, another cell, and so let's print. Print what? Print A list. So almost all our fruits has got A in it. It's a long list. It's a long list. So we can also use O. We use O on this call list. Then O underscore list, the append. Then print what? Print O underscore list. Let's run this first. Then you run this. So now it's also a long list. Wow. So, but black currant does not have O. How come?
We didn't change
Okay.
the if, yeah.
Oh. So my code was wrong. So now these are the three fruits that have got O in them. So this is how we use a for loop to make our life easy, our workplace. So now let's look at with the comprehension, you can also do the same, which we do now. We can also do it. You can write the codes like that. But it's not a very good way to write it. So let's call it list. Let's call it C underscore list. C underscore list is an empty what? Empty list. Is that understood? So what do we decide to do? What is decide to say the new list is equals to fruit for what? For fruits and fruits. If C in X, I mean in fruit, if C in fruit, so after that, just come down, print what? Print C list. Are you with me, guys?
Yes, yes.
Print no list, I mean print C list. All right, so if you run it, it's gonna print only one list. So it's only one list that's got C in it. That's blackcurrant. So you can see how beautiful programming is. So this is how we can continue to do as many things as possible. So before we proceed, I would like you to ask some questions. So this is it's a bit okay. It's just that you need to be very careful. So if you want to have a new list, so you make the new list a variable. So you declare the value of that list you want to print. You say fruit for fruit and fruits. If fruits, if C in fruits print, you can say it's all just repeating the same thing. So repetitive. But that is a problem. The main thing is just for you to know what you're doing. So now let's see, let's proceed. Now there is another way of using the list. So we can say no list expression for item in iterable if is a condition. If the condition is true, do this. So the return value is a new list, leaving the old list unchanged. So if you go and check the old list, it's still the same, nothing is changing it. But the only thing is you got a new list. So now let's go to condition. And we've actually been using condition for a long time, but we've not talked about it in detail. So what is a condition? Condition is something that if it's met, do this. If it's not met, don't do this. That's what we call a condition. A condition would say if this, let me see, give an example. Go home, go home. If you meet your dad at home, stay with him. Otherwise, come back to me. Can you imagine? So this is how we speak English, and this is the same thing brought into Python. You say, please go home. If you meet your dad at home, stay with him. Or if you don't meet him otherwise, else, if else, come back to me. So if the person goes and meets the daddy, what will he do? It will not go back to you, will stay. So that is to say, after the first condition is met, colors, nothing else to do with the second condition. The only time it goes to the second condition, if the first condition is not met. So let's say, for example, the condition you mentioned is not met, then it's not going to hold. So this is what a condition is. So the condition is like a filter that only accepts the item that evaluates to true. So it's a filter that would only evaluate or only give value to something that actually see it as truth. So example, only accept an item that are not Apple. So this is a very beautiful quote. You say you want to accept every other thing except the one which is Apple. You don't want to accept Apple, but you want to accept other things. So you would say no list X for X in fruits. If X not equals to Apple, then print every other thing. So what would happen now is going to print everything except Apple, because Apple has been mentioned. So it says X for X in fruits. If X is not equals to Apple, then print the remaining. So this is an amazing program. So we can also use condition for ranges. You can say if X is not Apple, it's going to return what? It's going to return true for all elements other than Apple. So every other element will be true, but Apple will be false, making the new list contain all fruits except Apple. So all the new list which you've made will contain every other ones except Apple. So because the condition for Apple is that Apple must not be there. So example, with no if statement, if you don't want to use if statement, what would you do? You would say X for X in fruits. X for X in fruits. So when you mention that, anyone who sees it would understand, oh, this is a for loop was syntax. So an iterable means the iterable can be an iterable object like a list tuple set. So a list is iterable. So you can also use a range function to create an iterable. So you can have, for example, new list X for X in range of 10. So without going too further, let's go back to Google Colab and see some of these examples face to face. Now let's open a new cell. Then we have a list, isn't it? So we want to have another list now. Say you call it D list. So D list is equals to empty what? Empty list. Is that understood? So now, instead of leaving it empty, you decide to populate it with codes. Say X, 4X, X, 4X in fruits. So fruits, X for X in fruits. So you continue. If X is not in, is that outright is not in Python. So you say what? You say no list X for X in fruit if X is not Apple. So if X is not equals to Apple, so print the list. So what would happen now is going to print every other thing in the list, but it's not going to print Apple. That's the only thing. So if you want to see that, you say print the list. Did you see? So run it. So now you would see, if you look through very well, you will never see Apple. So the Apple is been taken off. So this is another simple way in which the programmers use to make the life easy. So they can easily get rid of something and get something else into the. So, and we were talking about using it for range, using for loop to get a range. You can say num, you can say num is equals to empty cell. So I want to populate the cell with X for X in range 10. So it's going to run through the what? So now I'm going to print print none. Did you see? So it's gonna give me 10 numbers, 0 to 9, because 10 is not included. So what if I put a comma and I put 2? Now run it again. Why is it empty? Why is it empty? Because range is got only one argument. Because range is got only one argument, so it's not going to work that way. It's only going to work when you write only one argument, which is 10. Okay. So now let's don't stick too much today. So let's recap quickly what we've taken so far. So today we started from list 2. And we said print list 2. So we made sure that list 2 is still available. So we said print X for X in list. It didn't work. Because what? Because we put it in, but if you run it now, it's gonna work. So print, but you're gonna have this trouble down. No. So we also printed another one, 4X in list 2, print X. Then it gave us the all the fruits in list 2. So now we want to create a new list from the old one. So what do? We want to select something unique about the word. Something unique about the fruit which we want to use to take it out. So then we will say for fruit in fruits, if B in fruit, no list the append fruit. So you want to take off every B. So then you decided to print the new list and you saw that blackcurrant and banana were the only 2 fruits in the old list that's got what? There's the only list that's got 2 letters, 2 words with B in them. So I can also use O list to get O from what you want to get it from. You say for fruits in fruits, if O is found in fruit, that is the meaning. If O in fruit. So O list dot append fruit. So this is when you run this, then you have to print the O list, and we got this orange, mango, and pomegranate. These are the lists that these are the things in the list which has got only what? Which has got only O in it. So you can check the video for additional understanding. Hopefully, I wish you the best.